Hi everyone, today we are going to vectorize some artwork that we make in Procreate or on traditional paper so that you can see that vectors really aren't as hard as they seem, and it's pretty easy to pull some vectors together and make a pattern that is super customizable. You can change colors, you can make it any size you want, and it really only takes a few minutes. So let's dive into vectors. I'm Liz Kohler-Brown. I'm a surface designer and hand letterer who loves helping people find their style and sell their work. I'm making this video for all of you who are afraid to start working with vectors or have heard that it's really hard, or maybe you've tried it a couple times and it wasn't fun, or you thought that the vectors were really ugly. The truth is that vectors can be anything you want them to be. They can be gritty and rough, they can be sleek and professional, they can have a lot of different colors in them. There are a lot of misconceptions about vectors, so we're gonna get a little bit messy today with the paints. We're gonna make some fun drawings and turn them into vectors and patterns so that you can kind of see the range of what vectors can do. Now, this isn't a do everything with vectors class. Of course, we can't cover all that in a short YouTube video, but we're going to cover all the basics so that you can hopefully feel inspired to start using vectors in your work and see that you probably already have the tools you need on your iPad and maybe even some artwork already created. So let's dive right in. So let's start out by talking about the kind of artwork that I think you should vectorize. The simpler, the easier, of course, but it doesn't have to be super simple. It can be textures, it can have some overlapping elements. This is where I would recommend you start here with something really simple that has separated elements like this. And I do show how I draw this in my other videos in the iPad Art Break series. So I'm not going to draw a butterfly for you all today. I'm guessing you might know how to draw a butterfly if you're already here. So we're starting with that, and then we just need to turn it pure black to start with. Whenever you vectorize, it's a really good idea to just go ahead and go to pure black. It helps you get a lot more detail, and your end result is going to be a lot prettier if you just start in pure black and white. So here I am with my pure black and white image here in Procreate. Let's press the gear icon, press share, JPEG, and save image. So now I have this image saved on my camera roll. I'm going to open Adobe Capture, and Adobe Capture is a free app by Adobe. You don't have to have an Adobe subscription to use it. It is free. So go ahead and download that. I do think you have to create an account and use it, but it should all be free. Even if they prompt you to pay, this is the free version. So press import, import image, camera roll, and then choose your butterfly or whatever image you drew, and then you're going to see over here some options to increase or decrease the threshold or the detail. For this image it doesn't really make much sense, but you can see there's a little hole right here where I didn't fully close something. So when you move that slider up and down, you can kind of improve it a little bit. So I'm just going to do it all the way up so that hole completely disappears, and then I can press the check symbol, save. Okay, I have saved a vector. I just made a vector, you guys. It took 5 seconds. Super easy, right? I'm going to press the 3-dot menu, and I'm here in the library. You can always get to that by going to the library, making sure you're on all elements, and then pressing the 3-dot menu, share, export as SVG. It does have to be SVG. That's the only one of those that is a vector, so you don't want to use any other file type. I'm going to scroll over here to Affinity Designer 2 because that's where I work with my vectors. Of course, you could use any vector-based app that you want to use. I'm going to press Designer 2, and now I have a vector in Affinity. If I double tap on that, look at that little guy. It's a vector. Bam! You did it. You're dunsies. Of course, we can do some organization here. I can press on the very top layer in my layers panel, 2-finger tap on the last one, and then maybe give it a color. Then maybe we want to press the move tool, and I could highlight like every other wing element and make that a certain color. I'm just holding down one finger to select multiple things at a time. So then we have a cute little butterfly that has some color to it. Now for anyone who's never used Affinity, or maybe you've played with it and you're feeling a little overwhelmed, I have a free Affinity 101 guidebook and video lessons. So if you just need those basics of Affinity, like what is this app? Why would I need it? Why would I need vectors? Go check out that free guide and lessons. We're going to link that right below this video, and it will help you feel a lot more at ease as we dive into Affinity on this channel. So check that out and let me know if you have any questions. Now, what else could we do with this vector now that we have one? I can tap on the first one, that's a mustard color, and over here on this select area, tap select same, fill color. Now I'm selecting all my mustards. Press this little grouping button here and press group. Let's do the same thing with the blues. Pressing on the blue color, select same, fill color, group button, and group. So now I just have two groups, a mustard group and a blue group. The cool thing about that is I can change a lot of colors at once. So that just makes your process a little bit faster. Ooh, I like the multicolor blue. And of course, if we wanted to add in multiple colors, we could. Like, let's say we want the body to be a brown, then I can group all those. So this is kind of my second step. Whenever I have a vector image, my first step is to create the vector, just like we just did. And then my second step is to organize things. And the organization depends a lot on your file and your goals. So of course, it's going to be a little different depending on the artwork, but you might do something like this, where you've got the body in one group, the different kinds of the parts of the wings in another group. It's definitely helpful to keep everything organized like that. Then I'll tap on the first one, two-finger tap on the last one, and group all of those. So the nice thing about that is it's just organized. We've got a group, the group has 3 groups, and everything is simple. Then I'm going to go over here and press the 3-dot menu and press copy. Then I'm going to go back, and I have created some live pattern preview templates that go along with my Affinity Designer classes. So as I told you, I have a free Affinity 101 class. I also have a lot of other Affinity Designer classes. So if you want to learn how to do kind of what I'm doing today, you can use a free trial to my membership and get all of these templates, and I go through this in more detail. This is kind of an overview though, to just show you what is possible. So this is my live pattern preview. I'm going to 3-dot menu and press paste to get my little butterfly in there. And then you can look over here and see that we just created a butterfly pattern. Super quick, super simple. Let's get a nice light color that's going to look nice with my butterfly. So this is where you can really quickly start creating some color versions of your vector-based artwork. Another thing you can do is duplicate this shape, and then let's make another smaller butterfly that goes right here. Let's just put him on the corner, or maybe put him over here, just kind of a smaller butterfly on the edge. That looks kind of cute. And then we could duplicate it again if we wanted to. Basically, I'm just showing you, once you go to the trouble of vectorizing your stuff, there's so much you can do to quickly build really beautiful patterns. Not only that, this is infinitely scalable. So let's say you want to put this on a wallpaper that's 20 by 20 inches. You can easily resize it. You don't have to worry about what the original size was. Don't have to worry about blurriness, pixelation. This is a vector-based image, so it will work at any size, anywhere, any product, and it's always got those vector points that keep it infinitely scalable. We're gonna link a quick Affinity Designer repeat YouTube video for you all in case you wanna dive a little bit deeper into what you could do with this motif now that you've vectorized it, and also my free Affinity Designer 101 course. That also comes with a guidebook, which makes it really easy to follow along with me and have all the steps in writing. But next, let's do a little bit of work with some traditional materials and vectorize those so you can kind of see the difference between working in Procreate and working with some traditional materials. So I'm going to take just a minute here to paint something on this paper. And I want to say here, of course, you could do something like this with pencil. You could use ink pens, you could use some other kind of paint. whatever you want to do this with is fine. With all the AI art out there and all the overly sleek art that you're seeing as a result of this AI kind of revolution, it's nice to have some traditionally painted stuff. It has a real feel to it. It has a lot of emotion in it. It kind of taps into people's desire for more realness in their lives. You know, we're all facing a lot of fakeness in the whole online social media world. What is real? What is fake? Everything we see, we have to question if it's AI and if we're seeing something that's in the real world and what's not. So I think something like this that's hand painted is refreshing to people because they're like, man, that looks like a human did it and that feels good to me. So if you feel called to do traditional mediums, then I think that you should do it. I don't think there's anything wrong with combining digital and traditional. I think you need to go with what feels good to you. You know, I love digital. I do digital all the time, you guys. But I have days where I'm like, I don't want to look at a screen. I don't want to think about a screen. I want to go offline. And so that's what I do. So I'll take just a minute to finish this up. Then we're going to vectorize it. So I want to show you all that I'm going to be taking a picture of this, but I need to find a location in my studio that doesn't have a lot of hot spots. I don't know if you can see on that flower right there, right over here, there's like, because it's still a little wet maybe, there's like this highlight, and that's going to cause trouble for my vectorization. So I'd say number one, let your material completely dry. Number two, make sure you don't have any highlights or hot spots that's going to mess up your vector. Number three, if you have a scanner, go ahead and scan it, but who's got a scanner anymore, you guys? I don't. I just take it to a really like bright sunny window and try to get a really even shot. So let me work on that and then we will vectorize this. So here we are with the photos. I took a few different photos to show you all some different versions. So this was in a slightly shaded area, and I think it ended up having a little bit of blurriness to it because there was some shading. Now this would vectorize fine, I'm not worried about it, but if I could get a little bit brighter lighting, it would be great. So I kind of moved into progressively brighter and brighter lighting to show you all what I thought would be more ideal. This I think ended up being the best. That's pretty crisp. I mean, if you can see the texture of the paper like that, you're doing pretty good. So I'd say the last picture I did was the best. So that's the one I'm going to go with. I'm going to go back to Capture just like we did before. Import image from the camera roll, choosing that very last picture that I decided looked good. Now, don't think about your hand here. I had my hand in the picture, but don't think about that. Just think about how you want your vectorization to look. Now, do we want all that paper texture? Obviously not. Turn it down just a little smidge. Maybe we go down to here. Now, when I get to here, look how I'm like bringing in some texture from the paper. That's not what I want. So I need to find that happy medium here, knowing that I'm probably going to have to clean up the background a little bit, and that is okay. I'm going to stick with this. I think that looks pretty good and I'm happy with that. So I'll press check and save again, and then we can be landed here in our library. Now let's go back to Affinity Designer. Make sure you're in the folder that you want to be in first. This is where I want my work to end up, in that folder. So back into Capture, I'm going to press the three-dot menu, Share, Export as, SVG, Designer 2. It's going to plop it in whatever folder I had open, so that's why it's important to be in the right folder. Now I've got my Apple Pencil. I'm going to tap the Move tool, and I'm going to drag to select all the stuff I don't want. Anything I drag to select is going to be highlighted, and look at all these little pieces, all those little yucky pieces that I don't want. I'm just going to press delete, and I'm going to end up doing that with a lot of different elements, but I kind of take it in parts here. Like I might highlight everything over here and press delete. Let's do this little corner, kind of just getting these like big chunky pieces out of the way. There's not a lot over there, maybe a few tiny ones over here. They can be hard to see, so you know, you have to zoom in a little. there's one, but I can do this a little bit more easily by like highlighting this right here. That's going to be one motif. So let's group it and then make it invisible. And now if I go back to my layers panel, tap on anything, I can highlight all these little junky pieces. Delete that. So that just makes it a little easier to capture like a few little guys at once and not have to do every tiny little dot by hand. That would be boring. So I'm going to keep grouping these parts. I kind of failed on that one, so I might have to tap it and then drag it and drop it into the group. Sometimes if you have trouble getting a hold of something, you can just drag, take it down to wherever that group is and drop it in. So one nice thing in Affinity is you can tap on elements individually as well. So let's do this one a little differently because you may have a different type of art that's a little harder to select. Tap the first one, put your finger down, and then just keep tapping on each piece. And now I've selected every part of that and you can group. So depending on what material you use, you might need to select these differently. So figure out what's going to work best based on your artwork, whether you do that individual selection method that I'm showing you now, or you do the whole drag and drop thing. Both work fine, but of course you have to choose the one that's right for you. The nice thing is once you make all those little parts invisible, you can just go through and delete all this extra stuff. So anything that's still on the canvas, and look what's still on the canvas, all this yucky stuff, just press delete and it's gonesies. Then we just have 4 pretty motifs. Let's set them up with a nice color. How about that green? Maybe we'll do the flowers in pink. And so I'll go around and make each flower in pink, double tapping to open the group, and then putting one finger down and tapping in order to select multiple items. So that can be tricky for some people. So I'm going to do it again in slow-mo. Double tap, that opened to the group, and then selected that element. Put one finger down, tap, tap, and then tap on your color. So the cool thing about this is I could press select same fill color, and then open these other groups and select the fill color again. And then I can change all my pinks at once, or maybe I just want to drag my pinks out of the groups. This is where you get into kind of like a process question. Should I group by element or should I group by color? Honestly, it depends on how you build your pattern, so I'm not going to tell you, but what I do is I start by grouping my elements, and let me show you why. I'm going to copy these, 3-dot menu and copy with all of these selected in the layers panel. Go to my repeat document, which again, as I told you, you can get this inside my Affinity Designer 101 class, which you can watch with a free trial in my membership right now. You can immediately start watching the class as soon as you get in there. 3-dot menu and paste. Let's bump these babies up, putting one finger down to constrain proportions. Let's get a nice background color here. And so you can see now that the benefit of these being grouped as motifs rather than by color is that if I want to grab this and put it over here, grab this and put it over here, just kind of move these babies around. And also if I want to tap on one, 2-finger tap on the last, duplicate them, flip them, let's even rotate a little. The cool thing about that is that I now have double the motifs suddenly, and I can start playing with them and moving them around. So I think you all can imagine what you could do with this process. You could have a gorgeously complex pattern collection that you created just using the process I just showed you by kind of combining all these beautiful hand-painted elements and then playing with them on the canvas, moving them around, switching them up, maybe even creating some pretty fillers to go with them. You can see here the fun thing about working in Affinity is you can just tap on this motif and move it around. Put this over here, and why don't we upsize all of these? This is the joy of working with vectors, you guys. I can just really quickly upsize something, no problem. I'm not done building this repeat, but I think you're starting to get a feel for what it looks like. So sometimes as I build these repeats, I just start playing with color a little bit, because sometimes you'll just discover some gorgeous color combination just by playing around like this. Like, I really love this color combination, and that can kind of inspire you to build the pattern in a different way. Like, ooh, it would be nice to have some little white fillers. Maybe we need to go back here and paint some dots and then have some white fillers to put in here. So anyway, all that to say, vectors are fun, you guys. They aren't as boring as people think they are. They can be super exciting and fun. They can be gritty and rough like this, or they can be sleek like the one we did in the beginning. It's all up to you, and you can use your personal style to tweak them. It's question time. This question is perfect for this lesson. I promise I didn't pay this person to ask this question, but it is the perfect question to pair with this tutorial that we just did. This is from Tracy Zells or Zealous. I just spent so much time learning Illustrator, but I keep hearing Affinity is a better tool for vectorizing art. Why do you prefer it? And is there ever a time that you have to use Illustrator? This is such a great question. And for me, it kind of comes down to what tools you like to use. If you like to make artwork on your desktop computer or laptop computer, I would say go for it. Use Illustrator. If you like using that app and you know how to use it and you're comfortable in it and you're fine with the subscription fees, Illustrator is a great app. I don't think that one is necessarily better at vectors than the other. They're actually pretty similar in that respect. But here's the main difference, and this is specifically for iPad people. The iPad app for Affinity Designer is very robust. It has all the tools that you need to make really professional patterns. The Illustrator iPad app does not. It's very limited, it's very simple, and it's really made to be integrated with the work that you do on your desktop. So it's kind of built so that you could like work on something a little bit on your iPad and then move it over to your desktop. If that's what you like to do, then that's probably the app that you should use. For me personally, I do everything on my iPad. The computer for me feels like an office job. It's where I do my emails, my finance. I worked in customer service once and it kind of ruined the computer for me. So I love making art on my iPad. It feels very mobile. I can do it anywhere. So if that applies to you, then I would say you'll be better off using Affinity. If you're going to work on your iPad, yes, Affinity Designer is the one. Do I ever use Illustrator? No, I don't. Sometimes I have customers who want an Illustrator file, and I just export an SVG from Affinity and I convert it to an Illustrator file using a file converter. Even when I do minted contests, that's what I do. So no, I do not open the Illustrator app, and I have never had a problem with it. I've never had a client complain or even know that I didn't make something in Illustrator, because they just want that file name ending. They don't really care so much what app you created it in as much as they care about what the end result is. So that's just my 2 cents. It's worked for me. I built a business on it, but I know a lot of people who work in Illustrator and love it. I also have a blog post about that linked below this video that will give you a little bit more detail. So dive into that if you want to know more kind of about the nitty-gritty of Illustrator versus Procreate versus Affinity Designer. So I hope you all enjoyed this video and had fun making some vectors with me. Please share these with me on Instagram or wherever else you like to share your art, and tag me at LizKoehler-Brown so I can see all that you are doing with vectors. If you like this video, you might also like my Create a Block Print Style pattern video or my Design Sellable Assets on your iPad, which is also vector assets in Affinity Designer. So check those out. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.